Hey, welcome back to the another class of your online teaching. Today we are going to discuss a very beautiful poem, The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. Okay, so are you ready? Let's start. The road not taken. Okay, so here before we will go further into the explanation, I would like to tell you that road is a symbol. Okay, the road, it symbolizes our life. Okay, so road means options, road means path. Okay, and here path means options. Let me tell you what is the theme, what is this poem, what this poem conveys. Okay, what message this poem conveys. The poem is relevant to our life. The poet says that he was faced with the option of two paths in the wood. This is similar to the career options we have in life, and choose one out of them. Before I proceed, let me tell you quickly about the poet Robert Frost. Robert Frost, you can see his image here. Robert Frost, his full name was Robert Lee Frost. He was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it was published in America. So, being an American, his work should published in America, but his work published in England first. One of the most popular and respected American poets of 20th century. Frost received 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry, one of the highest prize in English literature it is. He was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic works. On July 22, 1961, Frost was named Poet Laureate of Vermont. Vermont is the name of a place, and he was given the Poet Laureate of Vermont award. Okay, so he has been very much popular in England first. After that, he became popular in America. Okay. Introduction to the poem. In this poem, the poet talks about a choice he has to make between two roads. The road is compared to the different career options we face in our life and have to choose any one. Okay, so it's a very, very interesting poem. It gives a very deep message. Okay. In the poem, The Road Not Taken, the road symbolizes our life. The poet says that the path that we do not choose in our life is the road not taken. Okay, means any option, any choice which we have not made, that means the road not taken. He describes his feeling about that choice that he had left in the past somewhere. Okay. The path which we have chosen decides our future. It decides our destination. I'll tell you how you can relate to this. The important message that the poet wants to give is that the choice that we make has an impact on our future, isn't it? What do you say about it? Whatever choices we make in our today, in present, it has a great impact on our future. It's really true. And if we make a wrong choice, we regret it. But we cannot go back. So we must be wise while making choices. Because if anywhere, by mistake, by chance, we have taken a wrong decision, we have chosen a wrong path, then there is no chance for us to go back. We have to move forward in that path only. Okay, so here you can see there is a man let's assume poet. Poet is standing here and you can see that two roads are diverging from here. It is a kind of a fork situation. And the poet is quite confused to take which road. You can see. So this is the dilemma. This is the dilemma that either I should go on this or on this. Okay, now let's see. The poet wants to convey an important message to us through this poem, that our future depends on our present. It's very true. You can relate. Like you all are in 9th standard now, and it is a very crucial time. It is when you will be in your 10th. You have to make a choice at that time after clearing your 10th board exam. Which stream you would like to go for? Science, commerce, arts. Okay, and once you will choose that stream, it will decide your whole future. On that one choice which you will make after clearing your 10th board, your whole future career depends on that. Okay, the career option we choose today will determine what we become tomorrow. The career option which we choose today, it will determine what we become tomorrow. We must be careful as we do not get the privilege to go back on the option once left. Once you have decided that you have to be an engineer and you have chosen science for that, then you cannot have any option or any choice with you to go back to your 10th again, and again you have to make a choice. It's not possible at all. Okay, so very wisely, very carefully you have to make decisions in your current situation, in your present. Okay, now let's move. Okay, so now we are starting with our poem explanation. Okay, let's read. Okay, so here starts our poem. I hope the message must be clear to all of you that it's all about making choices in the life, and one has to be very wise while making any while choosing, selecting any option. Okay, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So once the poet was walking down a road. Let me tell you with the difficult words meaning first. Diverged means separated. Diverged means separated. Okay, and took a different direction. That is called diverted. And then yellow wood means here a forest with decomposing leaves. Means autumn. Autumn. In autumn, the tree leaves, they turn yellow now. So that's why the forest was appearing yellow. Okay. Undergrowth means here dense growth of plants and bushes, means the forest. Okay, so here undergrowth means forest. So let me explain you. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. So once the poet was walking down a road, and then there was a diversion. Okay, diversion means two roads were separating like this. The poet was standing here and two roads were separating from that point of that point. Okay, there were two different paths and he had to choose one out of them. Poet has to choose one out of them. Okay, and poet has to choose one out of them. The poet says that as he was one person, here you can see, sorry, I could not travel both, and be one traveler, means he was only one, the traveler was one, and that's poet. So he could travel on one road only. He had to choose one out of these two roads. Yellow wood means a forest, I told you, with leaves which are wearing out and they have turned yellow in color, the season of autumn. It represents a world which is full of people. Forest, this yellow forest represents a world which is full of people, where people have been living for many years. Okay, they represent people who are older than the poet. The poet kept standing there and looked at the path very carefully as far as he could see it. The path till from where it curved, after which it was covered with trees and was hidden. It happens in our life also when we have choices. Okay, we have alternatives. Suppose, but we have to choose only one out of them. We take time to think about the pros and cons, whether it is suitable for us or not, and only then we take a decision on what path we should choose. Okay, sometimes it happens now that you get so many choices and you have to decide which one you have to choose, and you get a little bit confused that what shall I do, which option shall I go with, ये choose करूँ या वो choose करूँ. Okay, so that sort of dilemma it happens, and then you decide any one option. So similarly, the poet, he was standing in the yellow forest from where two roads were separating, and because he was the only one person, he could not travel both the roads. It's not possible for him to travel both the roads. Okay, he, just to make sure that which road he should go for, he looked down, he bent down like this, and he saw the forest for very long, as far as he could see that forest. Okay, and while he bent down and he saw the forest, he wanted to see the road, he wanted to see the path. Don't know what he wanted to know from those paths, but he wanted to see those paths. So this is our first stanza of the poem. Let us quickly discuss the rhyming scheme and the literary device used in it. Okay, so the rhyming scheme, you can see here, rhyming scheme, would, it rhymes with stood and it rhymes with could. Would, stood, could, the similar sound. Okay, so the rhyming, and both and growth, same. So the rhyming scheme is A, B, A, B. I hope it must be clear to all of you. Rhyming scheme would, stood and could, they are producing the same sound. So that is why these three are A. Would is A, stood is A, and could is also A. And both and undergrowth, they are producing the same sound. That's why they are B and B. So the rhyming scheme will become what? A, B, A, B. I hope it is clear. Then metaphor is used here. The literary device which is used here is metaphor. What is metaphor? Metaphor means when we do a quick comparison of two things, that is called metaphor. So metaphor here, this road means options in the life. Okay, this road doesn't mean that road. It has a deep meaning. This road means the options, the career options or the choices we have in our life. So here metaphor is used. Then another literary device, that is visual imagery, is used. What is visual imagery? Visual imagery means when you give such sort of a setting to your readers that they can imagine, they can visualize that scene. So you can see here the poet has given us a beautiful description of the setting, that two roads are diverging from a yellow wood, means the autumn forest. We can visualize that he is standing at one point of time and two roads are separating from there and he has to choose any one. So that is called visual imagery, when the poet or the author gives you such a clear picture of anything which you can visualize. So this is called visual imagery. So this is all about our first stanza. Now let us move to the second one. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. So first of all, quickly see the meanings. Just as fair means as good as the other one, means equally fair. Dono options were same, equally fair. Okay. Then better claim means the better one, the better option. Grassy means here, when I will explain you, I'll let you know that one of the path was grassy, means there were so many bushes and herbs and shrubs were growing there. That means that was unused, because once you use a path regularly, then that there were no grass or nothing over there on that path. Okay, it becomes a very regular path. But because it was unused, so there were lot many grasses grown over there. Okay. Then wanted where, which had not been used again. So these are the word meanings of the second stanza. Now let us. So the poet kept on looking at one path for a long time, then took the other just as fair. Okay, he took a long time to check if it is the right path for him or not, and then he decided and started walking on another path. Okay, he thought that both the paths, he found both the paths equally same, and then he thought that let me move on on to the another path, because he felt that the both paths were equally good. Okay, he says just as fair. So he felt that both paths were equally good and started walking on one of them. He adds that maybe he felt that the path was better for him, so he chooses it as it had grass on it, which means that it was unused. Okay, he thought that this unused path must be better for him, and he decided to move on that unused path. Not many people had walked on this path earlier. That is why this path was grassy. And wanted where means that it was not walked over by many people. Okay, after he walked on the path for some distance, he realized that both the paths had been worn out the same way. Both the paths were similar and worn out. Even in our life, we take any path or option, but all of them have the same benefits, disadvantages, problems, challenges, and we must face them. We think what we think. We think that we are choosing a better option, but it is not that way. Okay, so similarly the same thing happened with the poet. He looked for both the paths, then he found both of them equally fair. He decided to walk on one of the paths. He thought that this path must be better because nobody has walked on it. But when he started walking over that path, he found that, oh, this path has been also used by the people. Okay, so he found both the paths equally used and equally worn out. Okay, that means whenever we make any choices in the life, we feel like, oh, this is the better option, this is not the better option. But every option has its pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so we should be careful, we should be very wise while making choice. Now let us move to the third stanza. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Very beautiful line, very beautiful line. See here, the word meaning is already given. Trodden means walked over. Trodden means walked over. The poet says that both the paths were similar that morning, because he found that both the paths were worn out. People, they have walked on it. Both had leaves on them and no one had stepped on them, as they were still green in color. He decided that that day he would take one path and keep the other path for another day. He decided that let me go on one path and another path I will go on some other day. But it's not possible. Although he knew that one way leads onto another way. See, you can see, once you have decided, you can see here on my cursor, once you have decided, you have chosen this path, then there is no chance of coming back, okay, to the point from where you have started. Further, Further you will get divergence. You will have more choices, but you will move, you will have those choices in that path only which you have chosen. It's not like that you can come back at any point of time. यहाँ से reverse आने का कुछ नहीं है. Suppose you have taken this path, then further you will have to move on this path only, the very initial path which you have chosen in your life. So he knew there is that he knew that one way leads on to another way. He knew that he could not go back on the choice that he had made. Similarly, even in our life, once we choose an option, we must keep on moving ahead with that option, and we never get a chance to come back and take the other option that we had left earlier. अगर ऐसा होता तो many people they would have done that, and they would have fulfilled their wishes. But it's not possible in life at all that once we have made a decision, we have chosen any path, there is any way to go back to that. It's not possible in life, in real life. Okay, now let's see the third option, the third stanza. No, third we have done. Fourth, let us move to the fourth. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Sigh means deep breath. Somewhere ages and ages hence. Ages and ages means future. It's written here in the future. Two roads diverged in a wood. It's again repeated. And I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. The poet says that in the future he will take a deep breath and say that once upon a time he had reached such a point in life that there were two options for him, and he travelled on that road which had been travelled upon by lesser number of people. That decision of his decided his future. Similarly, in future when you grow up, then you will say that once upon a time when you were young you had two options. Okay, the choice that you made you what you became of it. What we are now, it's been decided. How it's decided? It's decided by the choice we have made in our life. This is a very strong message for all the students, that you should be wise and be careful while making choices out of the options that you have in your life, because your future depends on the choice that you make today. Okay, so it's a very crucial time for you all, because very soon you have to make a choice, a career option. You have to decide which stream you have to take, and you should be very firm in decision making. You should know the pros and cons of your decision, and then only you should make a choice. Okay, now let's move. Let us quickly see the rhyming scheme of the second stanza. Here you can see fair, where, there. So A, claim, and same, B. So the rhyming scheme is A, B. Also, the literary device which is used here in the second stanza is alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration means when the same sound produced all together. See here, the W sound, ver sound, wanted, wear, ver. It's related to the sound. Okay. Okay, so now the next alliteration you can see here, the next alliteration which is used in this stanza is the sound, that, the. Okay, so this GT, the sound is same, that's why alliteration is used here. Now let's move. This is our third stanza. Again the rhyming scheme is A, B. You can see lay, day, way. These three words are rhyming together. Okay, lay A ho gaya, then day A, and way also A. Black and back rhyming all together, so then B and B, right? So that is, it makes the rhyming scheme. The rhyming scheme comes out to be A, B, A, B here. Okay. Again, then there is alliteration used here. Alliteration, I told you, the repetition of the same sound. So here you can see repetition. For word sound is repeating. First, for. So for. First, for. Okay. So here the literary device which is being used is alliteration. Okay, stanza 4. The rhyming scheme of the stanza 4 is A, B, A, B. Sigh rhymes with I and then with by. So these three A. Hence and difference, they are rhyming. So that's why the rhyming scheme comes to be A, B. And then you can see repetition, a figure of speech repetition, that is the literary device, it is used here. When the same word exactly repeats itself, then there is used repetition. So you can see here ages and ages. You can see cursor, ages and ages repeating itself. So that is why the literary device, the figure of speech which is used here is repetition. Okay. Now let's move. Okay, in the last, the message. What message poet wants to convey through this poem? Through the poem Road Not Taken, the poet wants to convey the choices we have to make in our life. He is confronted with two roads and he debates his choices. He knows he has to select one and only time will reveal whether the decision is right or wrong. After we have walked down one path, we cannot undo them. Means we cannot go back on that path again. Okay? We can only regret. Okay? We do not have any other option of going back. Only what we have, we left with, that is regret. He decides to take the grassy road as he thought it was less traveled by. It had made all the difference for him. So ultimately, in simple words, the poet wants to tell you that one has to be very much careful in making their choices, because the choice we make in our present, it impacts, it hampers our future, it decides our future, it decides our destiny. Okay, so we have to be very wise and careful in making any choice which we make in the present. Secondly, he says that once we have made a choice, we do not have any option to go back further. Instead we have to move forward in the same path, on that same path only. So there is no choice of coming back to the initial point. Okay. Thirdly, he says that we only left with the regret when we make a wrong choice. So we have to be very, very careful, and we have to select the things very wisely. Okay. Similarly, you all will have to make a choice once you will clear your 10th exam, which will decide your career, your future. So you have to be very, very wise at that point of time. You should go through in depth, in detail of whatever career option you want to opt for, what all are the basic things required for it, what are the pros and cons, and then only you should come to a conclusion and make a decision. Okay. So the same situation was there with the poet. He was standing at a forest from where two roads were separating. He was in a dilemma which road to choose. Finally, he decided to choose one path which was less traveled. But later on, he finds that both the paths are almost same. Okay, and then he says that whatever I am today, that is all the result of my decision I have taken few years back. Okay, so I hope the explanation of the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost must be clear to all of you. I'll see you in next session. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Question answers I'll be sending in the form of PDF. You need to do it in your copies. Very soon I'll see you. Till then, bye-bye.